What is one thing that instantly makes you think this person has no manners? When grocery shoppers leave their carts in the middle of the aisle instead of pulling over. The grocery store is a cesspool for inconsiderate people. IDK why this brings out the worst in humans. People who leave their cart in the middle of the parking lot. People who dead stop to turn around without looking and crash into someone else's cart. People who exit an aisle into the main aisle without stopping and crash into someone else's cart. People who spend an absurd amount of time looking at a particular meat section so everyone else has to wait. People who bring an entire cart full of food to the express lane. People who park in the middle of the driving lane and block traffic because the close spots are taken up. I could go on all day about how much I hate grocery shopping lol. I used to work retail. Couple came in with 5 fucking kids under age 8. The kids went absolutely nuts and destroyed the store, knocking stuff over, kicking stuff around, and running up and down aisles. Parents glowed at me. They're so high-spirited. We love having such high-spirited kids. Aren't our high-spirited kids absolutely adorable? Fuck you people. It took me an hour and a half to clean up after you're adorably high-spirited. Spawn. Go fucking sterilize yourselves. I work at a grocery store. And because of COVID we have arrows to point the direction you're supposed to go with your cart. Today an old couple crashed into someone else because they were going the wrong way. Today, my U-boat, a large cart for stocking shelves, was in the middle of the aisle, but parallel so people could easily go by, about 1-1.5 meter each side of my cart. The man in the couple started cussing at me after I politely asked them to follow the arrows once they leave the aisle. He went to grab something from the shelf that was not even close to my U-boat. The man angrily said, "Your cart's in the effing way. Effing stupid idiot." I said, "Please, don't speak that way to me sir," and he walked away mumbling stuff under his breath. Called my manager and had him stand up for me. The man talked with my manager and walked away seconds after because he was obviously in the wrong. Like I'm just doing my frickin' job. No need to be so vile and rude. I'm 31 years old. I've never seen anyone be rude to people that work at the grocery store. Like I know it happens because I read it all the time on here. I just can't understand how you can be rude to someone doing a job that without them, you don't get to have accessible groceries in a uniform, clean aisle, on a uniform, clean shelf. I guess what I'm saying is thank you for doing a thankless job. It's super embarrassing. It sucks that restaurants are able to pay shit wages and make their servers rely solely on tips, but that's the way America works. As customers we shouldn't be punishing servers for that. I agree. When I visited the States last summer, I'm English, I didn't see the need to put down a tip after one meal I had. We tend to tip for larger meals or exceptional ones in the UK. I'm not stingy, and my friend who lives there explained that tips make up for lower wages in the States. And I was like, what? That's ridiculous. Very unfair and honestly takes away from it being a tip when you're basically just paying the rest of their wage. Yeah, the state where I was a server throughout college followed the federal minimum wage for tipped workers, which $2.13/HR. Keep in mind this was around 10 years ago, but that rate hasn't changed. When I heard some people who got stuck in my hometown talking about how ridiculous it was that they were expected to tip 20% now, they had be taught 10-15% was okay. I tried to explain how inflation has made things more expensive, but the tip minimum wage never went up to compensate for it. So you had to tip more, so servers could afford to live. They basically refused to believe it was true. At the end of the day, most Americans don't realize how screwed tipped workers can get. Right after we got married, my husband interviewed for a job in another state. We traveled up there together and made a mini vacation out of it. So we stayed a couple of days and went out with his potential employer and his family several times. They were rude to the staff. Every time. Like not outwardly rude, but that fake nice rude where they pick on the staff in a joking way that just really made my skin crawl. I just knew that it would only be a matter of time till they treated me and my husband like that. Talking over people. If someone is talking stfu and listen, when they're finished you can tell your shitty story, not halfway through someone else's. Edit. While my inbox is being destroyed from orbit, I've learned that people with ADHD can't help it, and we should be a little more understanding when they butt into conversations. I've also learned some people are cock'n'balls and never shut up. Interrupting these people is okay. Unless they also have ADHD, in which case refer to the previous point. I worked with a guy that was a one-upper, and he always had some kind of drama going on. I was bummed about not spending Easter with my dad. It would have been maybe the second one I missed ever in over 20 years. He looks at me and he says, "What if I told you I don't even have a dad to miss having Easter with?" I was like, "That's sad, man. I'm sorry. Doesn't change that I miss my dad." He was a pot stirrer. Glad he didn't stick around. People who chew with their mouth open. It's disgusting and drives me fucking crazy. My father open mouth chews. As a child it bothered me so much that I'd plug my ears at the table and refuse to eat. My parents' solution was to exaggerate it and eat even more noisily, and I'd have to go hungry if I chose to plug to my ears rather than eat, so I'd go without dinner quite often. If anything, it only made me hate the sound more. Parents who let their children run rampant anywhere. I've seen parents watch as their kid pops their fingers through every package of meat at the grocery store and do nothing. Parents who let their kids kick a stranger's shoe or other belongings. Letting the kids spit on windows and rub it with their hands. Letting them run around the store, playing with anything and everything, and leaving a mess for others to clean. And the parents literally just ignore it. I never understood that. They really are your obligation, not the store associate who's unlucky enough to be working the shift you happen to stroll in during. Be a parent. Bad kids can turn into shitty people. When I was living with my parents, we had guests over with a kid around 4 years old. He kept on trying to touch my mum's display of porcelain miniatures. I had to physically bar him from it by sitting in front of it while his parents egged him on and told him to put them in his pockets. They were very proud to mention that he destroyed his older sister's art projects and any poor guest's mobile phones. I started to feel bad for the kid after that. I dated a guy in college who would do this, although he did it while sober. One time a lady who was sitting next to us at a restaurant asked him to stop speaking so loudly, which was mortifying. It would get progressively louder and louder the more he drank. He was also big on being an asshole to waiters/waitresses and was a lousy tipper. No matter how big the bill was, he would never tip above $2. Other men we date when we're young and stupid. People who talk down to employees in the service industry, for instance those who work in retail or at low positions in an office, and those who ignore cleaning employees. It is free to say hello/good morning, but by ignoring them, you are belittling them. Who you meet on the way up will remember how you treated them on your way down. Also loud phone conversations, especially private ones when amongst others. Also inappropriate PDA in public places like restaurants or cafes. I'm not your audience. Please stop humping each other's. Anything that looks like they think they are way more important than anyone else. Not pausing what you're doing, assuming you can, to meet someone, or straight up not acknowledging someone. I remember introducing my best friend from high school to the new friends I made in college, and they wouldn't pause their movie to meet her and just sort of looked over and rolled their eyes when I tried to introduce her. The blokes came over to say hi, and I could hear the girls complain we were interrupting their movie. It won't surprise anyone to learn that my friend is very pretty and personable. I basically turned to her and said, "Guess they're intimidated by you." Similarly, people making plans that clearly could include someone in front of them, but not inviting them is incredibly rude, and I can't believe how many people F this up. Give an excuse, invite them like a big boy, or wait to make your plans in private. Especially if it's more than a row. Is Saturday still good? You can sod off. If you're over 14 you can get your shit together enough to show enough social grace to minimize people feeling excluded. So I have a roommate who I'm entirely convinced has absolutely no manners whatsoever. For context, I live in the barracks, so I have no choice but to live with this guy. I have 1.5 million stories about this guy, but I guess I'll start with the basics. Doesn't clean up after himself and refuses to help clean. Even if he's a guest in someone else's home, chain smokes / vapes in people's cars, flicks ash out the window, but everyone knows that literally will just kick it back into the Jeep. Tries to constantly teach people things and will talk your ear off and basically just dominate the conversation, no listening or allowing for a different perspective. Motherfucker literally introduced himself to me as the smartest man in any room. He plays music and sings in the shower at 4, 5, 6 in the morning and will take 45+ minute showers, 20 minutes to sit on the toilet and 25 to have his concert. The last straw for me was when I came home on leave and saw his flashlight sitting out in the common area table. We've stopped inviting him to places. He sits in his room alone playing Xbox all day because I'm not responsible for teaching a 21-year-old child basic manners. It's not happening. My roommate doesn't clean up after himself in the kitchen. His car hasn't been washed in a decade. Plays music / video games so loud like no one else is home. Doesn't know how to have an adult conversation at 33. Took over pantry and refrigerator, leaving no space for anyone else. Slept in the guest room since his bed wasn't a bed and said his GF was a guest, therefore okay. Leaves lights on. Cannot bring trash cans in when the first home. Is the asshole that fails the shopping cart test. And that's just one person, lol. Thanks for watching. In comments, write about similar facts and situations from your life. If you enjoy this video, watch other on my channel, and have a nice day.